On this week's episode, we had the pleasure of sitting down with Jeff Sokol. Jeff is a strong first elite level kettlebell coach, and he's somebody who I have really enjoyed watching and learning from on Instagram for years. It was so nice to actually get to sit down and get to know him.
Yeah, this conversation was so eye-opening. Jeff, when I tell you he brought his raw truth to this conversation, it was incredible. He has been through a lot in his life and has gone through a lot of struggles. And what he presents in this conversation is kind of pulling himself out of that deep, dark hole and finding strength training, specifically with kettlebells, to fuel his passion in life. And
It's really inspiring.
you guys, if you have the chance to just look at this on YouTube, watch the video on YouTube, you'll know what we're talking about. When Jeff was describing his coaching aspect, working out at the gym, Fuel House, it lights him up. You can see the passion in his eyes, and it was so rewarding to have this conversation. I think anyone that's struggling in any aspect of their life is going to take a lot out of this conversation.
Yeah, so let's get deep. Jeff Sokol. Welcome back to The Deep Life. Today, we are joined by trainer and kettlebell coach, Jeff Sokol. Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the show.
Honored to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. We're excited
Yeah,
to dive
definitely.
deep in all different areas of fitness with you.
Excited. Yeah, I love just having the opportunity to talk to other coaches. So I'm excited to talk some kettlebells, talk some training. But first, if you don't mind, for people that don't know you, could you give us sort of a brief background and kind of let people know who you are and what you do?
Yeah, you bet. Going way back, I was born in San Jose, California. And my mom had me very young. She was like 17. And we had moved when I was 3 to this little itty bitty town in Washington called Morton, Washington, which is a little logging community. I had like 23 kids in a graduating class. So I come from a real small town upbringing, which was great in a lot of ways. Got a good work ethic and I'm kind of a handyman because of it. I got those life skills and things like that may come in handy one of these days soon. You never know. But yeah. And then when I was going into my junior year of high school, we had moved 60 miles north of Seattle to a town called Mount Vernon, Washington, which was to most people a small town, but to me it was rather large because my high school had probably as many people in the high school as I did in the town I grew up in. So, which was a great deal as well because I got to add a little more culture and thing like that. I got to see outside of that just that small town upbringing, and then from that little town, I went straight off to the military. Ended up in Coronado, California, and San Diego, which, coming from a logging town and a farming town, it was like moving to heaven. It was amazing. And I served my time in the service. Went to a few places. I actually spent my last 2 years in Alaska, which was out in the Aleutian Chain, so a couple islands away from Russia, out in the middle of nowhere. And it'll be referenced in movies a lot. If you say you were an ADAC, it's like, what'd you do? But I did nothing wrong. It was a choice. But yeah, so that's kind of in a nutshell, just kind of where I grew up and kind of how I went off into the military. And
Yeah, so you've been all up and down the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
But when did you get into coaching? Was that immediately after the military?
No. After the military, I got out, and originally I was going to get out, be a firefighter or a policeman or something along those lines. That was always kind of my thought. But then after serving in Somalia, Mogadishu thing, the thought of being around more mayhem and stuff like that, it changed my whole path. So I was really kind of lost, honestly. I really didn't know what I was going to do because as a kid, I was like, this is it, But so I ended up working just a lot of odd jobs, like labor jobs, construction jobs, things like that, stuff that that paid the bills and kept me fed and all that type of stuff, but nothing that really brought me any passion whatsoever. I didn't wake up excited to go to work, or I really I really didn't feel like I made a difference daily. I didn't get into coaching until I think I was like 35 years old, and I'm turning 49 in June. So I started the game rather late.
I was just going to say, hey, the universe always puts things in alignment at the right time. So it's never too late.
Exactly.
For you. Yeah.
Were you interested in fitness growing up, or did you find it later?
I in that little town I grew up in, there's really not a lot to do. I mean, there's fishing, hunting, just doing that small town guy stuff, which was wonderful. But there was kind of like two types of people there. It was either you were like a professional car mechanic at 12, or you played football and baseball and stuff like that. And I played football and baseball, and I played basketball up until I was a freshman, because the Charles Barkley thing wasn't working for me anymore. The little short, stocky guy. Everybody was getting pretty tall, right? But honestly, I never really thought of being a coach in fitness. It would have been more like coaching youth football or coaching youth baseball. I mean, so I have that coaching gene in me, I think. But the fitness thing, I got into that when I was in the lowest point of my life, where I just kind of been working these dead end jobs, so to speak. They serve their purpose and all this. And I got into a job that most people, especially in the area I was at, it was a lifetime job, working for the government, and having some great benefits and tons of time off and all that stuff. But it was so paced, and and I felt like I was actually stealing from the taxpayers and giving back to them. And it was anti-passion, and I let myself get up to around 250 pounds. I was wearing like size 36 pants and vertical striped shirts to try and hide a little bit. I mean, I was just in a kind of a miserable, self-loathing type of place. And I mean, we could go on for days about all that led up to that, but through fate, I ended up discovering kettlebells, and how I found them was very interesting. And it wasn't Russian style kettlebell. It wasn't anything like, it was called Kettle Works, which was like one of those infomercials that are on late at night. And it was this Canadian guy, like trainer to the stars, and we were doing all kinds of funky stuff. I think he probably is the godfather of flow and all these fun things that are out there now. But it was, it served its purpose. It got a fire lit in me. And even though I didn't really feel totally into what I was doing with that stuff, it led to discovering hardstyle kettlebell and paddle. So, I always tell people, don't make fun of stuff like that, because you never know where that may lead somebody. There's no right or wrong when it comes to fitness. It's just kind of maybe a stepping stone into something bigger and better, or it's something that you love and you just keep doing. Just as long as you're moving, there's no need to poke fun at anybody about that type of stuff.
Everything serves a purpose.
Yes.
But that's just so interesting to think of you doing that, because now the image I have on you is all the hard style, strong first stuff, and just heavy get ups and swings and cleans. So I imagine you as like a kettlebell flow kind of cardio guy.
Yeah, it was fun though,
Yeah, it got the ball rolling at least. I think it's really interesting, just that sort of the balance between those two, because I think somehow people still think of the kettlebell as like a gimmicky weight loss cardio tool. And like I said, I think of you as like that hard style, strong kettlebell guy. So I do want to kind of get your perspective on using the kettlebells as a tool to get stronger and to build muscle, because I think that's overlooked too often.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the number one thing about kettlebell training to work in your favor for strength is approaching it as a skill set, not just a random tool in a workout. You know what I mean? Or just something in a circuit. You can most definitely get strong and build muscle with kettlebells, but you have to take that skill approach. My PR get-ups is 72 kilogram, right? And it's not because I'm 72 kilograms strong. I'm 72 kilogram efficient. Just the way I move around the bell, and that was just from all that skill practice, so if you want to get strong with kettlebells, first you got to get good at them. That way you can have access to the heavy weights, right? If you never get to that point where you can safely move heavy bells around, then maybe kettlebells aren't necessarily going to get you super strong. But when you're getting to a point where you're doing moving target workouts or easy strength workouts with, 32, 36, 40 kg kettlebells, or, females, doing it with 24s, 28s or whatever, I mean, you're gonna get strong, period. But and another thing is, you hear this at Strong First workshops a lot. It's like plan the work the plan. People, they don't get strong with them because they don't have a plan, and if they do have a plan, they don't work the plan completely because of shiny objects and all these other things that are happening. But if you take a skill based focus, you come up with a good plan, and you do all the other things you're supposed to do, eat, sleep, and and stay away from donuts and Coke every morning, you're going to get strong, period. But if you just chase it randomly, it's probably not going to happen for you, and it doesn't have to be fancy. Like if you came in to work out with me, you'd be like, man, this is kind of really boring, but it's effective. I mean, I take time between sets, and I don't work out. I just like, man, can I get better at this set than I was at the set before this? Can this clean be better? Can this squat be deeper? I mean, I don't work out. I just love these things so much that I just try and get better at the skill. And through that approach, I've managed to get relatively strong, and, I've stayed relatively fit for my age group and all that type of stuff. And I see it every day with people I train. I give them a plan, and they work the plan, and they're strong. I mean, I have a 55-year-old retiree right now that he finished a workout the other day, every minute on the minute with 56 kg swings, and made it look light. It took us a while to get there, but he's there because he did it. He did the work. And it's just, it's just having people dedicate to something, like real true dedication to craft. And I think that's the answer. I mean, I don't know, it's kind of all around the place though, because I'm a rambler, but that,
I love it.
No, I think my first introduction to kettlebell is when Dan started really personal training. Gosh, this was maybe nine years ago when we lived up in San Francisco. I really never had swung a kettlebell or done anything with it. And I was so surprised. Cardio that does come from kettlebells. So like doing a heavy kettlebell swing, 10 minutes, the example that you just said with your client, every minute on the minute, like I can feel my heart pounding. Like people don't realize that cardio is so much more than spending time on a treadmill or an elliptical. And I love that because it's not boring. These kettlebell movements, the flows that you can do, even if you're doing it proper too, which is a huge thing. And maybe you can get into that because, oh my gosh, I mean, it kills us to watch people in the gym not do a kettlebell swing properly or any type of movement, but
yeah, it's tough. And I always just tell, I call it strong cardio, it's like, are you ready for your strong cardio? You can go do the other cardio over there, but today we're going to do our strong cardio. You are going to, like you said, and the swing, for instance, it's the only exercise I've ever done that the better I got at it, the more physically demanding it became, right? Because I'm getting more core engagement. I'm locking my glutes out. I'm using my power breath and all that stuff, right? And that's where it all comes back to. The more skillful you get at this stuff, you're going to get stronger exponentially faster because it's like move with intention and you'll get the intended result, right? And that's just kind of how this all plays out. And that's why I love kettlebells so much, coming from, a martial arts kind of a background a little bit and stuff. I can't get bored. When I say my workouts are boring, I'm not bored. They're just like not flashy like somebody would think maybe sometimes, but I'm having a great time, and the other reason I love it so much, it's on that skill focus and stuff. I talk about it, I battle with anxiety, depression, and as long as I can remember, but when I'm in my kettlebell practice and I'm doing that stuff, like literally nothing else in the world matters. It's just some heavy music. It's just me, it's my bells and my space. The world is small. And I find that very healing in many ways. I say strength cures. That's been one of my little, I still call them pound signs because I'm over 40, but the hashtag thing, I mean, it really does. It's not for everybody, but I think a lot of people that are dealing with a lot of struggles, just even walking 30 minutes a day would it doesn't have to be a grueling kettlebell workout, just movement, man.
Yeah, start somewhere. Start where you are and do what you can. But it's like, yeah, with like a heavy Turkish get up, like you can't be anywhere else. You have that heavy kettlebell up over your head. You're gonna focus, and I think that
you're in the zone. And the nice thing about like most kettlebell gyms as well is, there's no TVs and a bunch of mirrors and stuff, so you don't have like mainstream media like over your shoulder. It's like the field house is a place of escape. We all come from different backgrounds, we all have different beliefs, and it's how the world is supposed to be. It's like when you're in there, we're all on the same mission, right? Whether you do this or do that with your life outside of here, or whatever you like, any of that stuff, it's like it can't happen in the world in a whole, because I see it happen every single day. People just putting their biases aside and their prejudice, and they just move and get along. And that's another reason that the gym is so important in movement. It's like, get out of your fish tanks and stuff and just go out and experience different people and learn that, just because Sokol has an American flag on everything he wears, it doesn't make him a crazy person. It just makes him a guy that loves his country. I mean, but in Seattle, that could come across as you're a crazy person these days. And it's insane to me, but whatever.
Yeah, could not agree more. Yeah. It doesn't matter what your political party or religion or however you want to identify yourself. Once you get in that space, you're just a person swinging a kettlebell.
Yeah, you're just people trying to seek self-improvement, and it's healthy. It's great.
Yeah. The rising tide lifts all shit. Like we're all better when we're all better. So it doesn't matter.
That's right.
It doesn't matter what you want to do outside of the gym. If we can help each other get better, we're going to improve everything. And I think there's so much of it seems like your approach is rooted in discipline and just showing up and doing the things, and really repetitive, not boring, but repetitive workouts and kind of the same thing in and out. Do you feel like that discipline came from kind of growing up in the small town and the military, or do you think it's just something that you had to work for, or did you just sort of have it?
I think it's all of the above. I think definitely growing up in a smaller town like that, I'd have to get up and go out and get kindling and make sure the fire was stoked before my mom got. It was just different. I had chores, I had responsibilities as a young guy. And I had very disciplined people in my life as well, right? I mean, I had a lot of whack jobs too, like everybody else. But I
disciplined whack jobs.
I think the military was real easy as far as that's concerned, because growing up I did have some discipline, and I was I got myself to practice a lot on my little bicycle for Little League back in the days that you could just get on your bike and ride and go somewhere and not worry about anything. It was beautiful. And then there was a lot of rough and gruff men where I grew up, so that prepared me for the military, because there wasn't a lot of low volume talking when men up there were trying to get their point across. It was a little elevated, but yeah, so obviously the military helps with discipline and all that. And then it's just finding something that worked for me. That made discipline real easy in the gym. I mean, people ask, what's your secret, dude? It's like, I have no secret. I'm consistent. That's it. Over the last 12 years, I averaged 3 times a week working out. I mean, that's that. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. I've just been consistently moving in the right direction. And I'm still getting stronger. I'm still getting PRs at 48. Consistency. I didn't take a magic potion. I didn't reinvent anything. I just keep saying simple but not easy.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think like it's so simple, but people for some reason have the hardest time grasping consistency. And I'm not saying that to be mean or rude, but we
No.
get the all the time. It's, in our society, oh, wait till you hit 30, wait till you hit 40, the metabolism goes, you're going to shit the bed. And it's like, we're getting better. Like we didn't take a magic pill. There's no magic potion. If anything, we live a very simple, healthy lifestyle. And it's right. It's like our slogan. It's building the momentum. It's just one foot in front of the other. And
I love that.
Consistency is by far, if I could tell people like what's the one thing that's going to help you the most? Just be consistent.
That's it. I mean, consistency works on both ends. If you're consistently doing unhealthy things, you're going to be unhealthy. Period.
Yeah, you're right.
It's real right. Simple.
Yeah, you can build momentum in the wrong direction too.
That's right.
Wherever your attention goes is where the energy goes, where your attention goes. Yeah, focus on the little things. Do you see, like in coaching, do you see discipline as something like people need to acquire? Like people that come into the gym, people start working with you, do they tend to need more discipline? And do you think that they can find it through training?
I think the first thing they develop is a habit, of waking up at a particular time, at getting to that gym, and then that habit kind of starts setting in, and then the discipline starts to naturally come off of that. I don't think I can necessarily, I can inspire discipline. I can, talk about it. I could share quotes about it. I could do all kinds of, good stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if someone, the way I usually see it, if someone makes it through like 2 or 3, like 10 packs of training, they're in. I try and sell like 12 to 16 packs or convince people like let's give this 3 months, right? You ain't gonna know anything unless you give something 3 months, right? And then during that 3 months, if everything's driving right and we're having a good time, and like I said, they get the habit first. And then the next thing, it's like the interesting thing about the gym sometimes, it's like it starts like with the discipline to get there. Then like people really get the habit of discipline, and then it takes discipline to stay away and rest. Yeah. So it's like this dichotomy that happens, right? And I find it so interesting, because I'll see people that just had no movement in their life, and the next thing they're like hurting themselves, and I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, oh man, I hit 2 workouts yesterday. I was in 5 days last week, and I'm like, okay, now you're overcorrecting. Let's find this little balance of so it's an interesting world, this stuff that is fitness.
Absolutely. It's like do enough to get you over that hump, because then it feels so good to feel good. Get that point across, because people will come and they want the external things. They want to look a certain way, or maybe hit a certain PR or whatever it is. And it's like, that's awesome, but it's that internal state of health and happiness that's going to make such a difference. Because then once you kind of get a taste of what it's like to feel good, there's no going back.
Absolutely. And that's, like with my depression issues and like hitting rock bottom a couple of times and all that, in some ways is a blessing, depending on how you look at it. Because, I know what it feels like to be standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to jump off of it. I mean, I really, really do. And then getting to a point where you've rebuilt that confidence, you've kind of recreated yourself, and then so you felt both ends of it, so you have a really good baseline of, well, this over here works better for me than that over here.
Yeah. It's very similar to what you said about exercise before, and sort of some of like the trendy flow kettlebell stuff, where nothing's good or bad. It's the same as how you're feeling and how your life is going, not necessarily good or bad, because those low points give you perspective, and those low points, you needed that to become the person you are now. So it's taking some of the good versus bad and the morality out of things, and just accepting that they are what they are, and they give you the tools to become who you want to be. I think is so powerful.
Absolutely. And then, another thing with modern society, there's not a lot of, I mean, there's struggle, there's struggle, but life is easy. Self-driving cars, homes that are always at the same temperature, not having to, we've lived in this bubble for a long time of
Yeah.
just assuming that everything is going to be okay. And so I think people create struggle because they don't have struggle. They create hard times that they don't have to be there. So like for someone like that, like the gym is a healthy struggle. So if you need to add a struggle into your life because your life is so good, instead of going on social media and doing all that, and just becoming a mean, spiteful person, go to the gym. There's some struggle you can encounter there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I love that analogy. You're completely right. We definitely, I mean, it's wonderful that technology has all these advances and we can have food delivered to us in 10 minutes. But yes, exactly that. There, we're very privileged in our, in our world. Joe, yeah, there you go. Giant convenience. Yeah. But I think that's kind of, it's really similar to us. And I, if you had told me that Dan and I would have gone into business together and I'd be a nutritionist and we'd own our own company and have a podcast, I'd be like, what the F are you talking about? But
right.
It was just really creating a healthy lifestyle and a great relationship with the gym. And as I began feeling better, it just opens up a new perspective, right? You become aware of the things that surround you in this life. And if you can have the perspective that you just said you had with the depression as a teacher, right? Life's giving us lessons to grow through, because as you become stronger, then you're able to help the people in your circle, in your community, in your gym. And instead of falling victim to everything, which we tend to do in this culture too, it's really taking a step back and trying to understand, all right now I'm going through a really crap period, but how can I pull myself out of this? Because when I do, it's going to be so much better for myself and the others around me. It's really shifting that perspective to victim into victor.
Absolutely. I couldn't
And
say
it's easier said than done. I know that, but
yeah, no, but you're 100% right, but that stuff's hard too, it's like you need to embrace the hard,
yeah.
But I think this goes right in. I've seen you say before, and it's all over your website, is the idea of building strength from the inside out. And I think that ties into very much what we're talking about. So I'd love it if you could kind of go a little deeper on that and sort of explain that philosophy.
From my own experience, like I said, when I found that kettle works, I had no strength anywhere. I mean, I was low point, right? That slowly but surely playing with these 10-pound, I think the heaviest one I had was a 20-pound, like, rubber coated guy. And there was like 20 to 30 minute workouts. It was like kettlebell abs, kettlebell cardio, maybe kettlebell strong or something. It was just something that was different than the gym stuff. But I was in my living room. I was to the point where I didn't even want to be around people outside of work or anything, right? So in those little 20-minute sessions of doing this thing and trying to get some consistency back in my life, not only was I slowly but surely dropping the extra weight that I've been putting on for just not caring anymore, and eating the 3 donuts at every safety meeting and all that stuff, which is, I love donuts. But anywho, yeah. But that period also was helping me build some self-confidence again, and getting me into those habits of that guy that I have been before in my life that I let go. So this little 20-pound rubber coated kettlebell, at that point, it was more building internal strength than it was external. But it was giving me that hope back, that time of, again, just focusing on something instead of everything else that was going on, divorce, losing my house, it's just that stuff that everybody deals with and every day. But anywho, just doing this type of stuff for me, it built that inside out strength. And then, once I became better here, I was able to access this outer strength, and so like building strength from the inside out, it's just, if you're having struggles and, like your couch is your best friend, just because you don't want to be out there because of anxiety, depression, or whatever you're dealing with, well, do some workouts on that couch. I don't care, but just start doing something, even if it's in the comfort of your living room, and you'll start building that inside out strength. Like, if people ask me if they're just totally lost, I tell them, put your phone in your shoes in the morning. Have a 30-minute timer set on there. It could even be 15 minutes if you plan on just whatever. But for 30 days in a row, rain, snow, or shine, right when your alarm goes off, pull it out of your shoe, put your shoes on, set it for 15 minutes, walk 15 minutes, turn around and walk back. And just walk a minimum of 30 minutes a day for 30 days, no matter how tired you are, no matter if it's raining, no matter what. And I've had challenges like years ago. I even made a Facebook page of it, and it was amazing. Next thing you know, they started with the 30, and then next thing you know, they're walking 60. They're taking pictures of the neighborhoods. They're doing all this fun stuff. And then, this person's like, hey, once my 30-minute walk turned into a 45-minute walk, I was walking by a yoga studio every day. And, somewhere around day 20, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to walk into that yoga studio, just simple. Like you say, your momentum. I love that about you. As simple as walking, it can literally change your entire life. 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
You never know where that's going to lead.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, walking is so underrated regardless. But yeah, and that's what fuels us. And I can see your passion, just like you get so excited when someone does your suggestion and then has the result that you had. It's like, yes, the light bulb goes off in their head. It's like, okay, yes, that's like what the passion and what we're here as souls to just help people become better versions of themselves.
Oh yeah, when I got into coaching, like I said, I quit that job and I just cold quit it. I didn't really have a plan, except for I'm going to figure this out. And I didn't care if I did it for 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, 6 years, 20 years. I just wanted to do something that brought me passion, and somehow I'm still doing it. I mean, it was just one of those things where I just said, screw it. All my family members and a lot of my friends are like, don't quit that job to go be a 35-year-old fitness trainer. Are you insane?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you? I'm like, I don't care. You know what I mean? The happiest I've ever been is when I had what I could just fit in my sea bag, and I lived out in a little cabin on a beach. I mean, I'm okay with having nothing, so it wasn't a huge gamble, but it paid off. It still is, I mean, when I sit on my deathbed, I doubt that I'll be saying, man, I wish I would have had a Lamborghini, but I'll definitely be thinking about all these people that have impacted my life, through fitness, and how I've hopefully impacted theirs. I don't give a shit about all the fancy stuff in life anymore. I never really have, but it's just, I found something I love and genuinely love. And it brings me so much joy to help people do this type of stuff. Anyways, yeah, I love it.
No, I love it too.
It really does go to it. Your face lights up when you start talking about it. It's very clear how passionate you are.
Yeah, and I was thinking that when you were telling the story about when you were in your low point and you had gained a lot of weight, our body is an indication really of what we should be doing. So if you are depressed or have anxiety or overweight, it's probably because you're out of alignment with what you should be doing. And that's, again, not to be mean or not to put anyone on the spot, but it just is giving you the questions to put those seeds, like, okay, yeah, maybe I should be happy in my job and I shouldn't have the Sunday scaries when I need to go to work in the morning. So I love your passion, and it's something that people need to hear, because we can't reiterate it and say it enough, because the truth that needs to be told. So I love your passion, your story. So thank you for being vulnerable and honest.
Oh yeah, my pleasure.
I'm actually trying to change subjects a little bit. Really, I would love to talk about what you're doing with Amazon Halo. Really, first off, I just really don't know much about it, and then I think it's just really cool that you're involved with them and doing something on a huge scale. So
yeah, that was one of the most random things ever. If you would have told me that I would be working for Amazon in any way, shape, or form. I would have told you you were nuts, right? But yeah, I got an email and said, "Hey, Jeff, we're looking at some Seattle-based trainers, and we want to come in and get a few of them on camera and potentially hire some new Halo coaches." And I had a friend that was there. So yeah, I went in for this thing, and they said in the email that they said you need to do 2 10-minute workouts. One can be with whatever you want, whatever implement you want to bring in. But I don't think they had to know I was going to do kettlebells, but I don't think they ever really envisioned where kettlebells would go on the app, right? But so and then the other I just did they said it's completely beginner body weight, so I basically just went through the ground force movement thing or whatever, right? But so I did this little kettlebell workout. I did my thing, and then when I came off the camera, more than one person said I was afraid of kettlebells until just now. And they're like, wow, I really think we could do something with this with somebody that seems approachable and somebody that can teach while they move and to make sure people doing it safely. So I was like, hey, I would love to do that, but I'm not just going to film a bunch of workouts to put on there. You're going to have to, allow me to do some KB 101 projects. And they were like, absolutely. So I did 3 or 4 videos on the swing, 3 or so on the get up, cleans, presses, and all this stuff. So I've kind of built this kettlebell foundations on there. And well, I guess I should say what it is. First of all, it's like a Fitbit, right? So you get like the Amazon Halo app. And then if you have the Fitbit and the app, you get access to coaches on there. Peloton-ish, but at a different scale, so yeah, people can go in there and find me and do my kettlebell 101 stuff. If they already have experience, I've got some like kettlebell burn workouts I've loaded up there. And then there's also a lot of other fun little things, like for instance, well, I don't even know how much I'm supposed to talk about this stuff, but actually, but yeah, but a lot of cool little projects outside of just teaching what I do. So they're getting me in things that I wouldn't normally be totally comfortable in, which has been kind of fun, but a lot of good things of just like, trying to get people to move more and more places, some short little like videos like that. And, it really does call to me, and it's a great place. And it is kind of like completely outside of the Amazon bubble. We have our own little building, so I kind of like that. And I don't want to talk crap about Amazon or anything like that, obviously, because that would be mean to me. But in the past, I really didn't think that highly of that corporation. But I've seen the inside now, and I've met some really amazing people, and they're doing it for the right reasons. This Halo app, for sure, they really want to reach people, and they know there's going to be more and more people at home. And things like that, and which was another reason that I was like, I don't want to do this because I want people to be outside working out. But but there is that's just the times, right? So if I can reach more people and it has to be in their living room, then so be it. I'm in.
That's awesome. Yeah. That sounds so cool.
It's just a great opportunity to kind of expose a large number of people to really high quality.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then those people, they can learn from your coaching videos, and then they can just bring their kettlebell outside. It's a win-win.
Amen. That's right. And there's a lot of little perks, like, I get groomed every time I go in there. They get because you have to go into like hair and makeup and all that kind of stuff that's way out of my realm. And a little green room and all these funny things. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Great. Well, oh my God, this has been such an amazing conversation talk. Like I said, we love your perspective. We love your work ethic, your passion. Any last words or any inspirational, messages or something that you want to share with our listeners, or any last tidbits?
Well, actually, I wasn't sure if I would talk about this, but it's actually quite amazing. And this would be for anybody that's listening out there that's dealing with like heavy PTSD or anxiety, or that's looking for alternatives or treatments. 2 Fridays ago, and I'm actually, after this, I'm going to get my second treatment for this PTSD treatment, but it's called the SGB, the stellate ganglion block. And when you grow up in a life of trauma, and it could be from anything, it doesn't have to be from the military, obviously, it could be car wreck. I mean, it could be anything, that the ganglion nerve, which kind of helps in the fight or flight system,
Mhm.
just gets overactive, right? So like coming to find out more about me through this process is my baseline. I was kind of like a high functioning alcoholic, but not an alcoholic, a high functioning anxiety person, right? So I was always on this heightened level that I've lived it for so long that I didn't even realize that was the case
Mhm.
until what this thing that I did. And what they do is, and they say it's like a reboot for your nervous fight or flight system, but it's kind of weird, but they put a couple numbing shots into that nerve, and it reboots it. My baseline, like I said, is like even on a beautiful, beautiful day where I have nothing to do, I feel like I'm late for a meeting or stuck in traffic or when there's no reason to do that, right? But from the time that they did that and took it out, and from other people that have done this procedure, a lot of them say the same thing. I went from that feeling to walking alone on a country road. And so since 2 weeks ago, I've been walking alone on a country road, and my anxiety, and it's non-existent to a point of like a miracle. I had to hear about it through different ways. So if I reach somebody out there with just talking about this thing, and I'm going to get my second side done because I do both sides today, and to say life changing would be a complete understatement. Like to feel what it feels like to have a fight or flight system that turns off when you don't need it is wow. I
Yeah.
don't even know.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh my, thank you for sharing. I can think of already handfuls of people who need that. And again, not it's ingrained, right? Especially if that's your traumatic response. Like you said, it doesn't have to be if you were in a
Mm-hmm.
war. It can just be the way you grew up or this
Mm-hmm.
friends group that you had. Trauma affects us all, but
Yeah.
that's first and
Mm-hmm.
foremost. That's so glad that you're feeling better and you've had that sort of peak. But no, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That is fascinating. I just want to, do you learn through like your doctor? Is it through a physician or a different
Well,
kind of?
I heard it talked about on a podcast
Oh,
originally,
okay.
and then that dug me into diving deeper and doing some more research on it. And it's they've been actually using this treatment for pain for over 100 years, but then they just started to realize that yes, it can maybe turn off sciatica, but what can it do for in different regions of the body? And about 10 years ago they started using it, and the success rate's amazing. And a lot of people that don't reintroduce all these same traumas, it last 12 years, 20 years, a lifetime, one procedure. So
Wow.
here's to
Yeah.
hoping I'm one of those that lasts for a long time, because
So glad.
living like this is nice.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. Jeff, where can people find you? If there's any specific social media or website you'd like to direct people to, we can link them all in the show notes. But
Oh, yeah. Sokolstrong.com, of course. I have a little website there. And then Sokol Strong at Sokol Strong on Instagram. I'm actually have been on a 30-day break. I don't know where I'm at on that. Just totally deleted all that stuff off my phone, which has been really nice as well. And then I do have like a Sokol Strong Facebook. I don't necessarily go there. It just kind of shares from my Instagram, so if you're looking for some tips or just stuff, there might be one on there that might work for you.
yeah, absolutely.
Great,
We
yeah.
take so much from your social media.
Yeah, I highly recommend following your pages and paying attention to what you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, we can't thank you enough. I feel like we dove deep in a lot of
Mhm.
subjects today. So thanks for joining us,
Thank you
Jeff.
so much. This was great.
Yeah, the honor was all mine. Thank you.